Alright, good afternoon. We are here live with break 359. Our team list for today: Broncos, Peter Lowe; Raiders, Nicholas Verway; Bulldogs, Rod Staples; Sharks, Peter Lowe; Dolphins, Peter Lowe; Titans, Aaron Livingston; Manly, Dean Mick; Storm, Craig Milson; Knights, Nicholas Verway; Cowboys, Scott Jones; Eels, Peter Lowe; Panthers, Dean Mick; Rabbitohs, Peter Lowe; Dragons, Scott Jones; Roosters, Ray Steptoe; Warriors, Craig Milson; and Tigers, Nicholas Verway. Good luck, everyone. YouTube's lagging a bit behind on my screen. Let's give it a refresh and see if it'll catch up. Alright, let's go. Let's get into our starter packets first. 624 starter packs. Starting off with a gold, number 52, Gail Broughton. G'day, Alex. For the Broncos. In the copper, number 90, Racine McGregor for the Dragons. David Fafita, number 38, in the copper for Titans. In the gold, number 47, Holly May Dodd for the Raiders. In the silver, 121, Braden Hamlin-Uele for the Sharks. And last starter packet. In the copper, number 43, Luke Keary for the Roosters. We did list another one of these breaks this morning on the website if anyone is interested, as well as break 360, our double case break featuring the 25 Titanium case and the 21 Traders case. They're both on the website. Parallel, Greg Marzhew for the Knights. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Tamir Martin, parallel for the Warriors. Showcase, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Valance to wear, parallel for the Dolphins. Yes. Not sure if there's any numbered stuff there, but there's more 25 traders to be listed. I actually updated, what was I doing? Fan faves, just normal ones before, nothing special for those. But yeah, we're going around in circles. Balami Kikau, Welding League for the Bulldogs. For instance, I was doing 24 traders yesterday, singles and sets. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Parallel sets. So Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. Stefano Utoikamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Parallel Tohu Harris for the Warriors. Club Heroes, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Yeah, right. Close. Almost there. Rising Stars, Jesse Colquhoun for the Sharks. Jared Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Jaden Ockenball for the Bulldogs. Ben Jabojevic, parallel for Manly. Sword and Shield, Jake Jabojevic for Manly. Xavier Coates, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Brendan Hands for the Eels. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Women's NRL, Pauline Razabel for the Tigers. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Club Heroes, Wiramu Greg for the Eels. Cameron McInnes, parallel for Sharks. Rising Stars, Arthur Miller Stephen for the Eels. Stefano Utoikamanu, parallel for Tigers. Excuse me. Women's NRL, Margot Avella for the Dragons. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. 3 packets left from our 24 Raiders starter packs. World in League, April for the Cowboys. Dolphins, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Andy Robinson for the Sharks. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Jamie Chapman for the Titans. Reece Welsh, parallel for Broncos. And that is the end of our 24 traders. Let's get stuck straight into our 25 titanium. We'll leave our priority for last. Club Heroes, Connor Watson for the Roosters. Sharks Parallel Checklist. Rising Stars, Jackson Purdue for the Cowboys. Kai Pearce-Paul, parallel for Knights. Season to remember, Tommy Turbo for Manly. Ethan Strange, parallel for the Raiders. Did you watch the Women's Origin? Only bits and pieces. Fan Faves, Dylan Edwards for the Panthers. Rabbitohs Parallel Checklist. It was on the TV. I can't remember. Yeah, I think I was messing around with the kids that night. Rising Stars, Jacob Laban for the Warriors. Herbie Farmworth, parallel for Dolphins. Oh yes, I'm pretty sure that was the night after their first lesson of Muay Thai. Club Heroes for the Dragons. Tommy Talau, parallel for Manly. I was quite happy the next day to see the Blues got up though. That was a bonus. Gold parallel, Jerome Hughes for the Storm. Number 19. Justin Olam, parallel for the Tigers. Yasmin Clydesdale, Women's NRL for the Knights. Charlie Staines, parallel for the Tigers. Converters, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs in the gold parallels. Rising Stars, Morgan Smithies for the Raiders. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Nathan Cleary for Panthers. Leo Thompson, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Lycan King for the Dragons. Luke Brooks, parallel for Manly. Jamie Chapman, fan phase for the Titans. Blake Laurie, parallel for Dragons. Rising Stars, Maverick Geyer for Panthers. Eliza Katoa, parallel for Storm. Showcase, Patrick Carrigan for the Broncos. Titans, parallel checklist. Fan faves, Greg Marsu for the Knights. Jack Bostock, parallel for the Dolphins. Fan Faves team for the Bulldogs. Wade Egan, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Charlie Geimer for the Eels. And we have number 32, Black Authentic, Jordan Ricky for the Broncos. Nice hit. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Hudson Young for the Raiders. Moses Leota, parallel for the Panthers. Fan phase, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Lachlan Galvin for the Tigers. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Regan Campbell Gillard, season to remember for the Eels. Jacob Little, parallel for the Dragons. Fan faves, Harry Grant for Storm. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Lapoy for the Bulldogs. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Elia Nasio for the Roosters. Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Raiders. Showcase, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Mitchell Barnett, parallel for the Warriors. Titans checklist, number 164 in the women's gold. Broncos parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Peter for the Rabbitohs. Scott Sorensen, parallel for the Panthers. Taylor Preston, women's NRL for the Sharks. Ruben Cotter, parallel for the Cowboys. Converters, Ruben Garrick for Manly. Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Women's NRL Cowboys checklist. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Lachlan Galvin for the Tigers. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Converters, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Dominic Young, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Tane for the Warriors. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. Fan faves, Jaden Sewer for the Dragons. KO Weeks, parallel for the Raiders. 2 packets left for our first box. Rising Stars, Lily Ann White for the Knights. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Tony Francis for the Titans. Connor Tracy, parallel for the Bulldogs. Box 1 done and dusted. Rising Stars, Samula for the Tigers. Sam Walker, parallel for the Roosters. Club Heroes, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Reece Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Women's NRL, Jessica Elliston for the Titans. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Leilani Montgomery for the Titans. Jacob Preston, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Fletcher Sharp for the Knights. Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Cameron Munster for Storm. Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. Fan faves, Will Penasini for the Eels. Dalton Koala, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Dan Kerr for the Eels. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Ben Hunt for the Dragons. Dylan Edwards, parallel for Panthers. Don't forget to get your tips in. Fan faves, Julia Robinson for the Broncos. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Georgia Hannaway for the Sharks. Dream Buller, parallel for the Tigers. Showcase David Fafita for the Titans. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Gold parallel number 28. Jakaya Whitfield for the Cowboys. Big announcement happening tomorrow that will change the face of a rugby league forever. Knights parallel checklist. Well, come on, spill it. Exclusive here. I don't know. Is that a headline you've read somewhere? Is there something you know? What's going on? Come on. Rising Stars, Alehe Hopawate for Manly. Tyrell Sloan parallel for the Dragons. I'm actually surprised we haven't spoken about the Bears having a team, Alex. What's going on, mate? Trey Fuller, season to remember for the Dolphins. Cameron Munster, parallel for Storm. Women's NRL, Lasana Alutu for the Tigers. Warriors parallel checklist. Oh, well, that was already announced. That's not tomorrow. Fan phase, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. What I was more surprised about, that's it, they're in 2077. They'll be starting before PNG. David Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Gold parallel, number 81. Lindsay Collins for the Roosters. Will they have a women's team? That is my question. Rising Stars for the Storm. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Like, I feel Panthers, to be honest, after winning 4 premierships in a row, they should almost be made to have a women's side. Jocelyn Keller, the Converters for Roosters. Ezra Mam, parallel for Broncos. Converters, Jamal Fogarty for the Raiders. Alexander Brimson, parallel for the Titans. Ali Brigginshaw, Women's NRL for the Broncos. Isaiah Yeo, parallel for Panthers. Kira Dibb to play for the Bears in the NRLW. Have they, I won't say announced, have they mentioned an NRLW side as of yet? Fan phase in the team for the Warriors. So she will be the foundation player if the Bears do get us. Rising Stars, Skylar Adams for the Broncos. Marco Sivo, parallel for Eels. Season to remember, Addo Carr for the Bulldogs. Bulldogs parallel checklist. Fan phase, James Tedesco for the Roosters. I suspect the Bears and Panthers will be next. Lindsay Collins parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Casey McLean for Panthers. Jerome Hughes parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Oren Kelly for the Dolphins. Tom Dearden parallel for the Cowboys. Two boxes, two signatures. What's the odds? Number 16. Yeah, right. So not only two boxes, two signatures. It is the same team. Different person. Keely Joseph, number 16 in the White Authentics. Congratulations, Peter. That's definitely not a bad pull to be pulling the white and the black. Xavier Savage, parallel for the Raiders. I used to watch some of the women, and probably, yeah, a lot of the 22-year-old sort of girls. I watched a lot of them play against each other. And back when they only had the four sides, I think it was Rudy Hill, Mitch and Berry. Can't remember the other two, to be honest. But yeah, they did well. I think it actually might have even started with just the two, Mitch and Berry and Rudy Hill. Don't quote me on that one though, but I'm pretty sure. Joseph Tarpanay, club hero for the Raiders. That might have just been the age group. That might have been what it was. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Mawala Graham for the Warriors. Max Plath, parallel for Dolphins. Pretty sure it was Waratahs. Penrith Waratahs. My eldest daughter was playing for at one point. Converters, Jamal Fogarty for the Raiders. Kyle Flanagan, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Jared Hargraves for the Roosters. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Fan phase, Hammer Fido for the Dolphins. Alex Seifert, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Grace Kemp for the Raiders. Brighton Nakora, parallel for the Sharks. 3 packets left for our second box. Showcase, Lindsay Collins for the Roosters. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Tamir Martin for the Warriors. Eels, parallel checklist. Fan faves, Tegan Berry for the Dragons. Reed Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. And that's the end of box number 2. Let's get these out of here and we will get into our priority. Season to remember, Xavier Coates for Storm. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Fan phase, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Jack Bostock, parallel for the Dolphins. In the team fan phase number 4 for the Warriors, Craig Milson. Isaac Tago, parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars, Liam Eason for the Sharks. Luke Brooks, parallel for Manly. Club Heroes in the gold, Mitchell Barnett, number 13 for the Warriors. Parallel, Justin Olam for the Tigers. Rakeo Horn, Women's NRL for the Tigers. Sharks, parallel checklist. Gold parallel, number 53. Jacob Carraz for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Ethan Bullymore for Manly. Kai Pearce Paul, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Herbie Farmer for the Dolphins. Jacob Little, parallel for the Dragons. Tiana Penatani, fan faves for the Sharks. Nick Meaney, parallel for Storm. I actually told myself I was going to get some ready for you, and I forgot all about it as well. Converters, Apasai Coruscant for the Tigers. Walami Kickout, parallel for the Bulldogs. Here's one for you that I don't know the answer, but I'd be curious to know how many weeks in total were banned after Magic Round. Rising Stars, Lazarus for Storm. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. We know Jacob Preston got 4 weeks. That's shocking. Anyway, Showcase, Cameron Murray for the Rabbitohs. Mitchell Barnett, parallel for the Warriors. Women's Gold, number 93, Ellie Johnston for the Sharks. Broncos parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Josiah Karapani for the Broncos. Number 8, Blake Brayley, tackling machines for the Sharks. Yes, well, I didn't realise that. Dad was telling me earlier that even Tino come out and said that it wasn't a crusher. Well, he didn't think it was a crusher. Scott Sorensen, parallel for the Panthers. Well, it was the most judiciary reports ever or something. I'm sure I was reading that. Season to remember, Connor Tracy for the Bulldogs. Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Fan faves, Connor Watson for the Roosters. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Alright, we're about halfway through our priority box now. Rising Stars, Josiah for the Titans. Joe Offengowie, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Jack Bostock for the Dolphins. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Converters, Romy Teitel for the Broncos. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. Zali Faye, Women's NRL for the Eels. KO Weeks, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Dimitri for the Warriors. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Samantha Bremner for the Roosters. Jeremy Marshall King, parallel for Dolphins. Fan phase, Mark Nichols for the Dolphins. Manly Parallel Checklist. Rising Stars, Chevy Stewart for the Raiders. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. And our Converters Gold Priority number 2. Lauren Brown for the Titans. Parallel, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. And our second priority club hero, number 31, Jack Howarth for the Storm. Phoenix Crossland, parallel for the Knights. He's been named in the extended squad for the New South Wales Game 2 next week. Women's NRL Raiders Checklist. Oh, parallel, Spencer Lenu for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Liam Henry for the Panthers. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Alexis for the Dragons. Xavier Coates, parallel for the Storm. Fan faves, Reece Welsh for the Broncos. Alifiana Khan-Pierre, parallel for Titans. Rising Stars, Rory Owen for the Eels. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, parallel for the Warriors. There's so many good players around. In a way, she's easily good enough to be there. Need more teams. Rising Stars, Blake Steep for the Roosters. Cowboys, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Jamie Chapman for the Titans. Joseph Tarpanay, parallel for the Raiders. Reed Marnie, fan faves for the Bulldogs. Jack Whiten, parallel for Rabbitohs. Almost made it through. Showcase a group card, so that'll get randomized between all 17 spots. Katoni Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. And last but not least, what have we got? Rising Stars, Casey Ray for the Dragons, and Hammer Fido Parallel for the Dolphins. Alright, so we will switch screens and we'll randomize our showcase group card. And that'll be it, guys. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for joining, and thanks to Alex for having a chat. Even though we missed our trivia, that's okay. There is always next time. So let's go 3 times around the merry-go-round, and the lucky winner will receive that group card. Number 1, number 2, and lucky last, number 3, Peter Lowe with the Dolphins. Alright guys, well that is it. That is all. Hope you had a ball, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to check out the new break and put your tips in, guys. Just for putting your tips in gives you a chance to win a $50 gift card next week. So make sure you do it. Until then, guys.